Okay, the book I chose to do was, it's called Fall, and it's level C. The indicator was to add or substitute individual sounds in simple one-syllable words to make new ones, so RFK 2E. And basically, we would just start with the word fall, since it is obviously fall. And then, like, on an index card, I would put it in the middle of the table, and it would say the word fall on it. And then I would ask, like, another student, like you, and I just said they would choose B. And then I would have another index card, and then I would write ball on it, and then I would have them, like, laying right here side by side each other, and then I would have them say, like, fall and ball, and then they would have to figure out, like, how they're the same or what letters are the same, so they're working with, like, rhyming words. And so then they would say all. And then we would have just like an index card with like all on it. And then actually this last semester I didn't do it, but I remembered seeing it. It was like an index card, had like the two slits cut out, and then it had like the strip that you could move up and down. And I would let them manipulate it to like see if they could make new words, and obviously put letters on there that aren't going to make words, like A and E and I and just different letters, so that they understand that just because they pick a letter doesn't mean it's going to necessarily make the word. But and then I would kind of just introduce the book to students, and we would have them identify the word fall. So we would go through and like we would look for it, not necessarily do anything with the word, but just go through and look and see the word, and then we would look through the book to see if there was anything in there that rhymed with fall. But I mean, in the book there isn't anything, so they should respond with no, there are no words that rhyme with fall. And then I would have them go through and see if there were any other words in the book that rhymed, but there are also none that rhyme, so they should say no, that no words will rhyme. But then you could have them, I would probably have them just pick a word out of the book and see if they could pick a word that would rhyme. So even if it was just like red, I don't know, if they could find a word that would rhyme. So they could pick out their own word. They could even probably pick it out based on the pictures because they're pretty self-explanatory. And then like at the end we would just talk about like the book so far, and they would talk about the word fall that they used today. And then they would have like a writing journal, and then they would write down a word that would necessarily rhyme with fall. It wouldn't have to be ball, but it could be if they can't think of anything else. And like the differentiation, the basic group would just do one, or Chris gave me the idea of having like a piece of paper that would have pictures if they can't write, and they would have to circle like the two objects that match. So maybe there would just be 3 pictures on there, and they would have to pick the 2 that would rhyme together. But then the proficient, they would have to do the 2 words, and then the advanced would do 3 words, and then I would check them before they would go back to their seats. But for guided, like for the next day too, of guided reading,
we should just read it.
No, you're almost done.
So on day 2, like the standards aren't the same, but we're going to go over the text features such as like the title, and then the author and illustrator, and then this is the front of the book. And then we are also going to go through and underline important words. So maybe we would go through and underline fall, or by then, we've learned colors. So we could do underline colors and underline the word fall because it's the title of the book. And then we will read it together as like our own group, and then they will go through and read it on their own. But if you have a child who is still struggling, like I would read it with that child also. And then we would also work on like answering some questions as we go through the book, so comprehension, and then just making sure they know that we read left to right and top to bottom and go by each page. And then on the 3rd day, we're going to assess the reading skill, which were rhyming words, and we would assess about the book. So for the rhyming words, I would give them a sheet of, I don't know, like multiple pictures, and then they would draw like lines that were connected to pictures that rhyme together. And then they are supposed to go over like the colors we used in the book, and then what they learned about fall, if they learned any